And aloha, welcome to the Travel Angel Radio Show. I am very happy that Kathy Takushi's back from her amazing adventure on, this was Ama Waterways, right?
Ama Waterways down the Mekong River.
Wow. I looked at some of the pictures on Facebook, and it was very exciting, and we're going to talk about that. Of course, what's on still in the news, and a lot of people's minds, is the alert that happened, the mistake, the false alarm. And the reactions, I think, actually were pretty interesting to watch. Everyone's different reactions. You said you had just landed when you got you were flying back in from Japan, right?
Yeah. So we got in about 9:15, and, we turn on our phones, and I got a text from my daughter-in-law saying, oh, this just happened. And I kind of looked at it. I don't know. Maybe I was tired still. I kind of didn't. I just showed it to my husband. We were like, "Oh, okay."
Right. Well, it had already been proven that it wasn't
and
real,
then,
but
yeah,
I know.
But at that time, we didn't really know.
No.
We just kind of looked at it and we said, "Oh, okay."
Well, what's interesting, I have a special guest here, Barry Nicholsberg, with the Carter Center, is here to talk. Also as a guest, and you just were in the airport in Oahu as well, right?
That's right. Yeah, I was waiting for a plane to take off, and my phone did the same thing everybody else's did. And I looked around and I thought, nobody's running, nobody's crying, nobody's panicking. I wonder if it was just my phone that got this.
I wondered that too. That's interesting. But you are from Atlanta, so why did it go off on your... Do you have an Hawaiian phone? Do you have a phone with an 808 area code?
No, it's just I was in Hawaii, and apparently they picked up that it was simply if you were in this area, you got the text.
I didn't see. That's the first time I knew that. I thought it was just people with phones from Hawaii that got it, but I didn't know anyone in Hawaii. So any visitor would have gotten that same thing.
Same message,
then.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't get it. I only got a text from my daughter-in-law, but my husband's phone went on, and my settings were on. I checked.
Yeah, I had another lady I know, Carmen Gardner, who used to work here, said she did not get it. Yeah. So that's another thing that's going to be checked out. Is why some settings worked, some did not work. And I think the strangest thing is, of course, why did it happen and how does it impact us and what we learn from it. Mm-hmm. And I think that what we learn from it is the biggest thing. And the fact that how do you deal with panic? Mm-hmm. There were people who panicked. And, I think there's going to be some education going on with people not necessarily making the mistake again. That, right. Yes, but how you react. How you react and what you do if there is something that occurs, because the last thing you want is panic.
Well, my thing is, if that happens again, a lot of people are gonna not believe it, or, and
there is that chance. Yeah, there is that chance. It was interesting because I guess the day before on Friday they had a special meeting with all the Chamber of Commerce. They even sent some news people over from the mainland to cover this threat of what would happen and what we do with the nuclear threat from Korea. So they had done a special symposium on it just the day before. Mm-hmm. And so that was on everyone's minds there. And it is, of course, on people's minds here. And then 60 Minutes last night did a special all about how real the North Korea threat. I don't know if you saw that, Barry, because you're visiting.
I didn't. No.
Yeah, they had a whole special about how the nuclear threat is real. From someone who had been there and visited there 7 times, who they showed all what they had to. Who was a nuclear
I saw
specialist.
Part of it. The last end of it.
So does this affect tourism? I think some people might be aware that this is a chance. But the thing is, from what I've heard, and you probably know more than me, Kathy, from what I've heard, tourism's really up because people who would normally go to the Bahamas, some of the places they normally go were affected by the hurricanes, so that more people are coming here, and that this is one of the very busy holiday seasons that just was happening here.
Yeah, and we've been getting a lot of requests for inbound travel for the whole year, so it's quite busy for requests to Maui and Hawaii in general. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We do have to be aware of how our profile across the country is projected. New York Times and Huffington Post, panic in Hawaii. It was the headline story is panic in Hawaii, and it's I don't think that's the way we really want to project ourselves to the world. This is supposed to be an aloha state, right? Right.
This is supposed to be where we're full of aloha, and there was some reactions that weren't so full of aloha, and it made me realize that how people, when they get afraid, get angry, and how dangerous that anger is. And it's based on fear. But some of these people really reacted because of the fear with a lot of anger. And some people were driving around like maniacs, and some people were looking for places to hide. And, it was already said that you're supposed to stay inside and not go anywhere if there is a threat. You're not supposed to drive or go anywhere. You're supposed to stay where you are. Really, the bottom line is there's nothing you can do anyway, and we all know that, but no one wants to hear that, right? Inside or out, it's going to be what it's going to be. And I think you got to have a little. I'm very fatalistic. I think you really have to be aware, like, hey, things can happen, at any time, and you better be ready for it. Because if you're not, you're going to come across those things that happen, right?
I tend to be a little more optimistic.
Oh, good.
I'm like, it'll turn out okay.
I like that. So I want to hear about this trip. Now, of course, Kathy with Captivating Journeys does wonderful, wonderful, exciting adventures. And this was an unusual one. You'd never been to Asia before.
Not as an adult. When I was a child, yeah, but not as. So it was a very different trip for me because I love Europe and I always go back to Europe.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I learned a lot, and I like some places better than others. So,
well, you flew to Japan and then Japan to Viet Nam?
Hanoi. Yeah, but we spent the night in Japan. So I flew on Hawaiian Air, and they didn't have a connecting flight, so I spent the night at the Haneda
at the airport.
Yeah, which I send a lot of people to Japan. When you get off in Japan, it's so calm. Everywhere out there, it's just chaos or noisy. But there was like this sense of calm, and you're just like, it was a very odd feeling for me because I've never really experienced that. And then the airport the hotel was inside the airport, so that was very convenient. Yeah. We just picked our bags and went over and had dinner and spent the night and then left the next morning. But just even checking in the next day, I mean, it was just we flew all Nippon Airways from Haneda to Hanoi. Just that experience, since I had never flown. It was Christmas Day. They had little bag tags that says Merry Christmas. I mean, just the service. And when we were pulling out,
I think that's cute. Bag tags with Merry Christmas.
Everybody is so polite. It's unbelievably polite. I mean, when we pulled out from the gate, the ramp guy pushes back the plane, and then the ramp people bowed to the plane and waved goodbye. I was like, oh.
I love that.
I was like, oh my God.
I've never seen it. That's
yeah.
Good.
So anyway, so that was my little first impression of Japan. And then Hanoi was a little different.
More chaotic?
Yeah. But when we first got into Hanoi, we were driving in and was trying to get a feel for it. I wasn't so sure about it. But then when we got into where our hotel was, and I actually enjoyed Hanoi.
What's your first impression of what it was like?
Well, the traffic, the cars, crossing the street. I kind of experienced some of that in Egypt, so I wasn't totally out of, my realm there, but it was a little bit different. And then we met up with this little tuk-tuk man, and he took us around, and we actually got in a day early.
Oh, good. So you were staying at what hotel?
We stayed at the La Opera, which is right around the corner from the Sofitel, which is where the hotels that Ama Waterways used. And I loved all the Sofitels. So, I've stayed in the Sofitel in Amsterdam. I really like the Sofitel chain. So that was a nice property, and it was central, convenient to walking around. And then our little tuk-tuk man, we arranged for him to take us the next day. He took us. Now he's a small guy, and he pushed me and my husband like an hour.
This wasn't a motorized one.
No, he was pedaling his bike.
Oh,
and he just pushed us around, and he spoke some English, not a lot, but enough. pointed out different things. But I'm glad we went a day early, because a lot of the Ama people that they got in the next day, so they only really had like a half a day.
That's not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough. So you kind of really didn't get a good feel. So I liked that we did go in and we wandered around on our own and checked everything out. But Ama did an excellent job. The cruise manager was really good. The staff, the hotels, the tours, the boat was nice.
Your room?
The room was nice, comfortable.
Cabins are small on river cruises. Was it pretty small?
Not that small. It was larger than, and even the bathroom was larger than, I would say, the Viking Europe one that I had been on.
Oh, good. Well, that's good to know.
And
how many people on the river cruise?
There was 106, and I think it probably accommodates like 126 or something like that. I thought the food was okay. I expected a little bit better food, but talking with some other people who had been on Ama, and I had a couple travel agent friends that were also on that cruise. We concluded, I think it was probably the best that they could do with what they, the food that they had. But like all the pho and all that was really good. But it wasn't bad. It was good. But
it wasn't gourmet. It wasn't top. Yeah.
It wasn't what I expected. They have a chef's table that was I thought was really good too. That's supposed to be more gourmet.
They include the basic wine, alcohol, included or not with that?
Beer, wine, and lunch and dinner. They had every evening like a special drink of the day. In the hotels, though, it was either for lunch, when they had lunch included, or it was beer and soda, which I found out, I guess, in Vietnam and even Cambodia, wine is kind of difficult to get.
Oh, interesting.
I
So
didn't
it's
know
beer.
that. Yeah. Learned a lot about the Vietnam War and the history of that, which I knew some, but I learned more about that. That was interesting. Loved Cambodia. I know you want to go there.
I really want to go there.
Yeah.
Did you have a morning tour of Angkor Wat?
We did. So
did you stay at the Sofitel?
The Sofitel.
That's a nice,
really nice property.
That's where Tom Vendetti does his Maui film, the Cambodian Film Festival there. Yeah.
Really nice property. Highly recommend.
Isn't it right there near Angkor, right almost on the grounds of Angkor Wat?
No.
Oh, I thought it was
it's like
right there.
Maybe 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. I got to back up. Because we went to Halong Bay before we went to Siem Reap, and that was really nice. So,
where's that at?
In Vietnam. So we had to. It was about a 4-hour bus ride from Hanoi, and then we went on a boat to cruise the Halong Bay, and it has all those limestone little islands, and so that was one night. That was that. I mean, it's kind of really, like, it was misty and stuff, so it was kind of like surreal, kind of.
Yeah, I always think of the Iao Mountains here, the West Maui Mountains, like
so that was really nice.
And in southern China, you can go to the Li River, and it's exactly like that, with those beautiful, beautiful mountains that are so mystical and painted very often. Yeah, in many Chinese paintings, you see those. Yeah.
Yeah, but really loved Cambodia. We went, Ama sponsors a school there, so we went to a school, and they had this big celebration. I think it was New Year's Eve, I think it was, or New Year's Day, and the kids sang for us, and we brought supplies, so that was fun. So we saw the first day we saw two temples, and then the next day we saw Angkor Wat early morning for sunrise, and then another temple.
Did you go north of Angkor Wat? There's supposed to be some amazing temples further north.
I don't know if it was north, but we saw
whatever
temple that was. I can't remember now. And then we from there we went. We had to. It was a 6-hour bus ride to the boat.
Lots of long bus ride.
Yeah, but that's what you had to do. But it didn't feel like we had stops along the way, lunch stop. They packed you a lunch.
Were they good roads, or were they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only road is when we went to this one temple that was a little bumpy, but most of the time. And then,
so you're how long in Cambodia? 3 days? 4 days?
3 nights.
3 nights.
Mm-hmm. And then we got on the river, and then we stopped at these other little villages in Cambodia, and Phnom Penh. We spent on the boat. We spent 1 night, so we did that, and then we went into Vietnam, and then ended in Saigon.
And how many? It seemed like it was a long time. How long was that cruise?
The cruise was 7 nights.
Sure seemed longer from the time you were gone, I guess.
Yeah, because we had the pre-nights.
Yeah.
And then we had 2 nights.
Time in Japan.
Yeah, 2 nights in Saigon. Saigon was okay, you know. I probably wouldn't go back there. That was a bigger city with more, lots of more cars and, mopeds and stuff like that.
What was the weather like?
Hanoi was chilly.
Really?
Yeah. And then Cambodia and Vietnam were hot. Kind of like here in October, where with no trade winds, so you get a little, sweaty, but not overly.
Because
unbearable.
Later in March, it's supposed to get very, very hot at the end of March and onwards, yeah.
Like November to February is the best time to go. Mm-hmm. And then we ended up in Japan after we left there. Loved Japan. I can see why everybody wants to go there now. Yeah. So
where did you stay in Japan?
We stayed at the Hilton, which is in the Shinjuku area.
Right. I stayed there when I was years ago. I was there. I stayed at the Hilton.
I like that area. It's a business area, and it's a little quieter. But within a 10 to 15 minute walk, there's this area, it's kind of lively and got little hole in the wall restaurants. And then we took the metro all over.
You just did this on your own?
I did it on my own. And then we did a day trip out to this area called Kamakura. It's about a 1 hour.
I love Kamakura. That's the world's largest outdoor Buddha.
Yes.
I had a very enlightened experience there. I was at the base. Now, originally this was indoors, and the temple it was in burnt down, I think, like 500 years ago or something. Oh. So now it's just an outdoor Buddha.
Right.
And when I was there was these cicadas, and I know cicadas depend on the season, that sound. But there was that overwhelming sound of cicadas. They were very, very loud there. I remember it even now, all these years later. And people, if you think of the Lahaina Jodo Mission Buddha, that's based after this one, but it's like 100 times larger. Mm-hmm. You stand there at the base of this Buddha, and you look up as far as your head can look up. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's huge. It's massive, and it's very powerful. And I was doing that. I was at the base of the Buddha, and I was looking up at the eyes of Buddha, and honest to God, this experience happened where I went into like another zone, another state of mind, and I saw Buddha's eyes literally open and look at me.
Oh, really?
Honest to God. I went through there, and I don't know how much time went by. I was in another time and space, and that sound I can still remember, very warm. But that Kamakura Buddha is very, very powerful. I'll always remember that Kamakura Buddha. It's great that you got out to see that.
Yeah, there's lots of little temples out there. We saw about 3 of them. And they have a cute little, you go to Hase to see the giant Buddha, and they've got a cute little street where it has shops and little food stands along the way, and and you walk by, wow, that smells good. You're like eating along the way as we're walking. That was fun. It's kind of a little beachy town too, because
I didn't go there.
Yeah, when you walk up the street to go to the Buddha from the train station, how did you go? Did you take the train?
I don't remember. I think it was it was a car, I think, or something.
Yeah. So from the train station, it's just a short walk. And then that was it. Then we came home.
Well, it sure seemed like you were gone a long time, and you were there for Christmas in the air and New Year's. So how did you feel? Did you not mind being away for the holidays?
Oh, no. Yeah.
I had pneumonia. I got on Christmas Eve, and I was sick for like a week and a half. So I didn't have any of the holiday stuff happening either.
A lot of people were sick on the boat.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, they...
That's concerning.
Quite a few people, and some people came sick, and they had to go to the doctors and whatnot. I did get a little bit of a stomach bug But
well, I'm not surprised because you were eating that food off the street and stuff.
We didn't eat street food. We went to a restaurant. My husband ate a fried tarantula.
Oh, hello! Your husband ate a fried tarantula, and you're wondering why you got your stomach.
I didn't eat the fried tarantula, but just a couple of days, and it went away. But,
that's good.
Yeah, but yeah.
Do you bring always the anti-diarrhea pills? I always bring some with me.
He did. He's the pill person. Yeah. I didn't take any, and it went away.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, it sounds like it was a great adventure. Did you have a great time?
I did. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Different than your other trips, right?
Oh, definitely, way different. Yeah.
So. Which is important because we all do some of the similar ones in the Mediterranean cruises and all that stuff, but they're this similar feeling, and this is a whole different experience, totally to places you had never been to before.
And this trip, if you want to do this trip, it's not for it's for a different type of traveler who wants to experience probably more of the real life of the, because you do see, I wouldn't say it's poverty. We would view it as poverty, but as the guides say, and even in Egypt, the people are happy there. They're, that's just their life, and we think, they're poor and but that's just their way of life compared to ours. So, yeah. But I really, really enjoyed visiting the schools in Cambodia with the kids. That was probably...
And as you know, Doug Shank and others here are very committed to helping. I know of at least 3 people here in Maui helping and have started schools in Cambodia.
Yeah. So,
which is really great. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And of course, Keola Beamer and the group went down and brought 40 ukuleles and taught the kids are now playing ukulele, and they taught them how to do hula, which is wonderful. There is kind of an interesting connection with Cambodia from some people here on Maui, Yeah. That's why I need to get down there and see it.
I remember Doug, I think Cindy, they had asked, because they said they had gone like many times, and I'm like, well, why did you go? And they go, we just love it, and I see why. I would definitely go back there.
Oh, you would? Well, that's great to know. Maybe we'll have to do a tour group there. Wonderful. Well, I love hearing about these adventures. I learned so much, and that's why we talk about them so much.